A great news wave has just crashed on the coast of Baltimore. What's going on, everybody? My name is Joey Petersen. Welcome into the Ravens Rundown. We got a ton to break down on today's show, so I'm not going to waste any more of your time other than to tell you to subscribe to the channel. If you have not yet, tomorrow is the final day of our February sub battle. We are down 52 subscribers to Steelers Talk. I hate the Steelers. You hate the Steelers. Let's beat them in this sub battle. Hit that big red sub button down below for free daily coverage of your Ravens. Let's get started with today's show. Bobby Baltimore tweeted from the NFL scouting combine, "I'm hearing that retirement is not in the cards for Nnamdi Madubuike, and there's a realistic expectation that he will be back in a Ravens uniform this fall." That's one of the coolest things about big NFL events like the combine and the draft and things of that nature. The Super Bowl is one of them. A lot of NFL insiders congregate into one massive place, and you get a bunch of intel across the entirety of the league. And if what Bobby Baltimore is saying is true, ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely massive for the Ravens. If Nnamdi Madubuike is back in 2026, that is huge. And this has been something that's been a question mark for a very, very long time. We said here in September and thought that we'd never see him play another snap again. John Harbaugh was in a news press conference and said that Nnamdi Madubuike is out for the year. That's when he confirmed this news. People then questioned about whether the neck injury could jeopardize his career. Harbaugh said those questions are for Madubuike to address. The rest of the season, when asked about that, things seemed very dodgy. We didn't hear from Nnamdi. It just seemed like, okay, that's it. That's the end of the run for Nnamdi Madubuike and the Baltimore Ravens, all because of a neck injury sustained week 2 against the Cleveland Browns. And once he went down, man, this defense was screwed. And I'm not here to tell you it would have been a top 5 unit if Nnamdi was still in the building, because it wouldn't have been. There were far bigger problems other than Madubuike not being there, right? Zach Orr was a bigger deterrent for this defense than Madubuike's absence. But still, man, he was having a phenomenal season to start the year. Like, remember in 2024 when we were like, Nnamdi had a fine year because 2023 he was like off the charts? Well, 2025 he seemed to be back to his best form. Through 2 games, the 2 games he played, 7 combined tackles, 2 sacks, 9 quarterback pressures, and a quarterback pressure rate averaging at about 13%. And then he was out for the next 15 games. And your pass rush did these numbers: 30 sacks, a pass rush win rate of 30%, 198 QB pressures, pressure rate of 28%, and time to throw of 2.87. The best ranking statistic on this list is 22nd in the National Football League. Barely outside of the bottom 10. And again, I'm not saying if Nnamdi's in the lineup, if he is in the game, if 92 is out there, then this is a top 5 pass rushing unit, but his absence affects everything. I mean, look at the team sack totals. Year by year by year. Do you notice an outlier? Do you notice a difference when you compare the 30 sacks to 2023 and 2024 with 60 and 54? Because I see a stark contrast between the two. So that's great news. It really, really is. Do you want Nnamdi back in 2026? If you do one big favor. Hit that thumbs up button and like today's video, okay? Don't jinx it. I want him back. You want him back. Let's help each other and make sure this happens. I also think it really helps your draft strategy. Right now, you got a lot of needs, okay? And defensive tackle is very, very high on that list. Now, I still think defense tackle is on that list, whether 92 is back or not, but it doesn't become as dire of a need, as necessary of a thing to hit in the first 3 rounds as it would if he wasn't coming back in 2026. See what I'm saying? Now, I'm not thinking that they're just going to totally ignore defensive tackle. In fact, Eric DeCosta spoke very, very highly of the positional value just the other day. He said, I think if we have the chance to draft a great defensive tackle, of course we will. It's one of the most important positions in football. But you are a football team that needs help on the edge, okay? You need help in the quarterback room. God, you need help on the offensive line at multiple different spots, especially if you lose Tyler Linderbaum. Well, if 92's back in the lineup, if you got Mads back in 2026, defensive tackle just goes a little bit lower on that list. Speaking of the NFL draft, you did have 2 formal draft meetings today. That's the other part of this great news. One more coming up to end the show. But I do think it's awesome that you had some meetings with Makai Lemon, Jordyn Tyson, 2 wide receivers that I really like. I think the 2 best wide receivers in the NFL draft coming up. And you only get so many formal meetings, so it's obvious that Baltimore likes what they've seen in both those guys and are realistically thinking about taking either one of them at 14 if they are still available. We got to hear from both of them. Let's start with Kyler.
It'll be a huge blessing. I did meet with them. It'll be a huge blessing. Lamar's, one of the best quarterbacks. He could do many things, when the ball's in the hands. So, to be, on his offense, around that organization, it'll be a blessing.
I really, really like Makai. I think he is the best wide receiver in this draft. I think what Makai does that's so special is kind of where things are trending in the direction of drafting wide receivers. He is so good at getting open, and he runs routes so incredibly smooth. And it feels like over the last couple of years, we've realized that route running and ability to get open are far more translatable from college to the NFL than a high contested catch rate. That's why I like this guy, I like both these guys, more than I like Carnell Tate, because everybody's like, Carnell Tate is an 84% contested catch rate. Yeah, but he's doing it against quarterbacks that aren't going to play in the National Football League. You think guys like Jalen Ramsey are going to let him just absolutely moss him? Now, you could say the same thing for route running and getting open, but look at the great wide receivers over the last couple of years, right? Guys like a Jackson Smith and Jigba kind of comes to mind, his rise over the last couple of seasons. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson. Not saying those guys can't make contested catches, but they pride themselves on their route running, their abilities to create separation between them and quarterbacks. Jordyn Tyson, this is a guy who's a smooth route runner, more known for his solid hands, his ability to make those contested catches, but still would be a very interesting option at 14.
That'd be amazing. Zay Flowers is up there. That'd be amazing. I feel like I can help the team for sure.
How did that meeting go?
It went very, very good. He was trying to trip me up as well, but I don't think I tripped up.
I think the biggest question mark when it comes to Jordyn Tyson is his injury history. Okay, dealt with a hamstring injury in 2025, had an ACL, MCL, PCL tear in 2023. This is a guy that just has not, end of 2022, all of 2023, he was pretty much out. This is just a guy who hasn't really been able to stay healthy. Now, the one season he was fully healthy at Arizona State, 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. Cool thing is, this last year, really improved in the drop category as well. This is a guy I like a lot. I think I like Makai Lemon more, but Jordyn Tyson's the pick at 14. I wouldn't be mad about it. What I do like about Tyson more than I like about Lemon is his fit with Baltimore, because he's a bigger wide receiver, 6'2", and Baltimore doesn't have a ton of those guys on this roster. I think it'd be fun to have that kind of a target for Lamar Jackson. So the Ravens draft a wide receiver in round 1. Give me a yes or no. My opinion on this has always been, I don't think so, but if it happened, I would not be mad. Let me know where you guys stand. Real quick, we do got to give a big shout out to our awesome sponsor of today's show, our friends over at PrizePicks. Shoot your shot on PrizePicks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right, PrizePicks now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. PrizePicks makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting, so don't miss the chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. PrizePicks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Pick from all your favorite sports, anything from basketball, baseball, hockey, UFC, soccer, college basketball, tennis, golf, esports, and more. Baseball season is right around the corner, so I went the more on Juan Soto, 37.5 home runs. This is for the entirety of the season, not just one game. That would be crazy. Paul Skeens, less than 2.65 ERA, and I'm going to take the more on Roman Anthony, 20.5 home runs. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. NFL insider Carlos A. Lopez, guy who writes for the New England Patriots but has a bunch of connections across the league, tweeted out something very, very interesting this morning. He said the Eagles could potentially make a decision on wide receiver A.J. Brown's future within the next 10 days or so. Jeff McLean notes that it's unlikely Philadelphia accepts anything less than what Seattle received for DK Metcalf, a second-round pick, or what Buffalo received for Stephon Diggs, a second and fifth-round pick. The Patriots are expected to have interest. And if the cost for a guy like A.J. Brown is just a second-rounder, I don't care how much Eric DeCosta likes his draft picks, I would expect the Baltimore Ravens to have interest as well. And they should, ladies and gentlemen, because it's A.J. freaking Brown. Over 1,000 yards in his last 4 seasons, and the last 2, he got over 1,000 yards, not even playing full seasons, and having Jalen Hurts as his quarterback who can't throw it further than 30 yards in the air. And this Ravens wide receiver room has some questions, right? That's why we talked about Makai Lemon. It's why they talked to Makai Lemon and Jordyn Tyson. Zay Flowers, is he a wide receiver 1? I think he's a wide receiver 1B. DeAndre Hopkins is a free agent. Rashod Bateman was terrible. Devontae Walker doesn't play. And Tylan Wallace and LaJohntay Wester, both of those guys were non-factors. Hell, I'd sweeten the deal. I'd throw in Bateman in a second, and I would do that tomorrow. I really, really would. I think A.J. Brown's a really good player. I think he's got a lot left in the tank. I think he wants out of Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia wants him out of Philadelphia. And I think Baltimore needs a true X wide receiver, a true wide receiver 1 that they can feel 100% confident to go to when the game season is on the line. Would you accept this trade? A for accept or D for decline? Let me know down below in the comment section. We're going to get on out of here, but appreciate you guys for hanging out with us on your Friday evening. Hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy whatever you got going on, whether it's nothing, whether it's a lot. We'll be here Saturday, Sunday, of course, back all next week for some great Ravens content.